Good morning, my dear students. How are you all? Hope you all are good. So at first, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Geeta Shukladash and I am your science teacher in class 7. So welcome you to all in the class 7. And I would like to extend warmest wishes to all on the beginning of our new academic year 2021-2022. And as you know that due to COVID-19 we can't come to school, but till the time we will meet through these videos or online classes. So let's begin with our first class.
So today I will discuss the first chapter, that is nutrition in plants. So let's take a look exactly what we have to study in this chapter. First, nutrition and its types. Second, autotrophic nutrition in plants. Third, heterotrophic nutrition. Fourth, saprotrophs. And last, replenishing nutrients in the soil. So before we start, I have a question, that do all plants require food? What do you think? They need food to survive? Yes, they need food to survive. Now question is, how do plants eat? प्लांट्स कैसे खाते हैं? जैसे हम हाथों से खाते हैं या फिर चम्मच लेके खाते हैं, प्लांट्स कैसे खाते हैं? Before we know that how do plants eat, we have to learn about the another topic, that is nutrition. Okay, do you remember the components of food? Class 6 में पढ़ा था ना about components of food? There are 5 major components. They are fat, protein, vitamin, minerals and carbohydrate. They are known as nutrients. Now tell me, what does fat gives you? Fat gives you energy, and carbohydrate also gives you energy. Then protein, what does protein gives you? Protein, they make sure that you can grow and repair your body. And last, vitamins and minerals. Vitamins and minerals protect and save you from a lot of diseases. Okay, am I clear? Okay, now what is nutrition? Nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body. That means the way we eat food, the way we take in inside the food, and the way we utilize the food in our body, that is called nutrition. After this, you have to remember only 2 main things. One is how do we take in food, and second one is how do we use the energy that we get from the food. Okay, so let's moving on the another topic, that is mode of nutrition. There are 2 types. One is autotrophic nutrition and second one is heterotrophic nutrition. What is autotrophic nutrition? When somebody can mix their own food, they are known as autotrophs, and this mode of nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition. And only plants can make their own food, basically green plants. Okay, and next is heterotrophic. Animals and non-green plants, they cannot prepare their own food and they are called heterotrophs, and this mode of nutrition is called heterotrophic nutrition. Basically that depends on the plants. Okay, now maybe you will ask me that why only plants is called autotrophs, why not people? People also can make their own food. right? But thing is, whatever we made in our food, suppose chicken, rice, maggi, vegetables, whatever we made in our food, where does that food come from? Suppose chicken comes from the animal, and then rice comes from the plants. That means basically not only we, all the animals, they directly or indirectly depends on the plants to fulfill their nutritional needs. Am I clear? Okay, so look at this picture, that heterotrophic one. At first there are only plants, they are called producer. Why they are called producer? Because they can produce. Then second one is primary consumer, those who only eat plants and leaves, right? They are called primary consumer. Primary consumer are, suppose, rat, rabbit, caterpillars, they are known as primary consumer, and they only eat plants and leaves. Okay, so next one is secondary consumer. Why they are called secondary consumer? Do you know why they are called secondary consumer? Secondary consumer, those who only eat primary consumer, and they are not directly, they are indirectly depends on the plants. Only primary consumer directly depends on the plants. And last one is tertiary consumer. And tertiary consumer, those who only eat secondary consumer, they are known as tertiary consumer. So basically, in short, we can say that only primary consumer directly depends on plants, and the other two consumer, that is secondary and tertiary, they are indirectly depends on the plants. Let's understand in details about autotrophic nutrition. What is autotrophic nutrition? When somebody can make their own food, they are called autotrophs, and this mode of nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition, and only plants can make their own food. Now question is, how do plants make their food? जैसे बाजार जाते हो या फिर ऑनलाइन से खाना ऑर्डर करके भी खाते हो, प्लान भी ऐसा करते हैं क्या? नहीं ना, यू डोंट सी लाइक दैट. तो फिर प्लान कैसे खाना पकाते हैं? Plants makes their food by the process of photosynthesis. So let's understand the process of photosynthesis. What do plants use in photosynthesis? They use in photosynthesis mainly four things: carbon dioxide, water, sunlight, and chlorophyll. So what about chlorophyll? You will read about chlorophyll in the higher classes, but now in short you can say that chlorophyll is a green pigment or photosynthesis pigment. Okay, so first, root of the plants, they absorb water and minerals from the soil and send it to the leaf. Next is carbon dioxide. How do plants take in carbon dioxide from the air? The leaves of the plants, they take in carbon dioxide from the air through tiny pores, and these pores are known as stomata. Okay, so look at this picture. This is the structure of stomata. It look like peanuts. Okay, so first, number one is red one, nucleus. Number two, chloroplast. Number three, vacuole. Number four, guard cell. Number five, cell wall. So these tiny pores or holes are guarded by two cells. They are known as guard cell. What they do? This guard cell continuously opens up and closes up, opens up and closes up. When the guard cell open up, carbon dioxide enter, and when the guard cell closed, oxygen came out. So that is how plants take in carbon dioxide from the air. One more thing is necessary, that is sunlight. In the leaf they have chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll catches the sunlight and start making food. After chemical reaction, the carbon dioxide and oxygen they converted into food in the form of glucose. Okay, this is all about the process of photosynthesis. So let's take a look the chemical reaction of photosynthesis. When carbon dioxide adds with some water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, they convert it into food in the form of glucose. Here C6H12O6 actually glucose, and glucose one kind of a carbohydrate. Okay, and then that oxygen they released in the air. Okay, am I clear? Okay, so let's moving on. The other mode of nutrition, that is heterotrophic. We all know that what about heterotrophic nutrition. Animals and non-green plants they cannot make their food, they are called heterotrophs, and this mode of nutrition is called heterotrophic nutrition. There are 4 types. One is host parasite, then insectivorous plant, next is saprotrophs and symbiotic. So let's understand about the first topic, that is host parasite. Okay, so as you can see in the screen, that yellow root like plants, that plants has a name. That name is Cuscuta, or you can say Amarbel. So these yellow root like plants they climbing up on other some plants, and they are known as parasite. Why they are called parasite? Because they depend on the other plants to fulfill their nutritional needs. They do not do anything. Like आलसी बेबल खुद कुछ नहीं करते पर किसी और से खाना लेके खा जाते हैं. Just like that, these plants sucks food from the another plants, or you can say the host plant. And so what about the host plant? The plant from which a parasite gets its foods, they are called host plant. Okay, one more thing is that that parasite have no chlorophyll, and that is why they cannot make their own food. Okay, so next one is insectivorous plant. So what about insectivorous plant? Where plants depend on the other organism to fulfill their nutritional needs. The example of insectivorous plant, there is 2 plants. One is Venus flytrap and another one is pitcher plant. These plants actually trapping inside insect and absorb the nutrients from them. Okay, whenever any insect enter, these plants will goes, and due to the chemicals present inside the plants, the bodies of this animal dissolve, and then that plant will absorb the nutrients from them. But have you noticed these all plants are green in color? Green in color means they have chlorophyll, and they can make their own food. That means they can make their own food. But if they can make their own food, why they eat insect? Because they usually grow in nitrogen deficient soil, and that's why they eat insect to fulfill their nutrition. Okay, so next one is saprotrophs. These saprotrophs plants feed on dead and decaying plants and animals. The example of saprotrophs, mushroom, fungi, bacteria, and also the spores of fungi, they always floating around in the air, and when they come in touch with the wet and warm things, they started growing. Okay, next one is symbiotic plants. Symbiotic plants are the plants where two different organisms feed each other to fulfill their nutritional need. They are depending on each other. The example of symbiotic plants, lichen, and you can see you can say that the symbiotic plants like give and take, and they have the give and take relationship. Okay. So next one is the last topic in this chapter, that is replenishing nutrients in the soil. That means कैसे हम nutrients को वापस कर सकते हैं soil में. Okay, do you remember that I told you before that plant takes water and minerals from the soil? If plants takes the minerals and water from the soil, that means there must be a day when all the nutrients in the soil are over. But it never happens. It never happens that the soil is just over with the nutrients, right? It never does happen. Why? Because we replenish nutrients in the soil. So let's understand how nutrients are replenished in the soil. Okay, so have you seen farmer putting fertilizer on the soil? Yes, you all would have seen it, right? You all would have seen it. And what is present in the fertilizer? Fertilizer में क्या होता है? First is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So these fertilizer, they make sure that all the nutrients that plants have used, it should get back in the soil. मतलब this fertilizer makes sure कि जो भी nutrients plants ने use किया है soil से, वो nutrients फिर वापस आ जाए soil पर. Am I clear? Okay. The next is, so what happened? What happened now? We all know that in the atmosphere there is so much nitrogen. Then why plants cannot use that nitrogen? Because in the atmosphere two nitrogens stay together and they are bonded very strongly, and that you cannot break them down. And then we need some bacteria which can take the nitrogen from the air and break down that nitrogen into one and one instead of two nitrogen. Okay, so what we need? That we need some bacteria which can take the nitrogen from the air and break down that nitrogen into one and one instead of two nitrogen. Then that bacteria either makes the nitrogen soluble in the soil or fix it on the root. So then plants can absorb that nitrogen from the soil and makes their own food. Okay. And okay, so now there is most famous bacteria, that is rhizobium bacteria, and that bacteria usually grows on plant's root, and that plant is known as leguminous plant. Do you know which plants are leguminous? Basically the pulses plants or peas plants, all those plants are leguminous plants.
Okay, so that's all about this chapter. So hope you all are understood about this topic. End of this session, I want to say one thing, that if after attending this session, if you are getting any doubts or suffering any problem, so you can ask me through the WhatsApp group. So that's all. See you in the next session. Thank you.